Walter Ocean Tara, Dean Ella. Minister, who appointed the board of RTE?
Sorry?
Who appointed the board of RTE?
Well, through the PASS process, we make appointments, and of course, you do in the committee too have responsibility for making some appointments too that you recommend to me that I then bring to government. You have
the final responsibility.
Government sign off.
To you, obviously. Minister, you're the government minister, you have not addressed the issue decisively, allowing it to continue to erode public trust. Would you accept that?
Excuse me?
You haven't addressed this situation properly as the minister in charge, and you're allowing the public's confidence in RT to be further eroded. Would you accept that?
I have been working very hard on this. I think the key piece of this are the expert advisory committees that I set up very early on. One on HR and staff, the other on governance and culture. I set up those investigations. They will shortly report to us. I think they're key because they're the only reports that will have recommendations in them. Most recently, I pushed with the DG to seek for clarity on the severances, and indeed going forward to look at capping on those severances.
Spare me
I've asked for the strategic vision in RTE, and that was
no such thing, I'd imagine, a strategic vision. And Minister, I said, does the DG talk to you, or is he just sit dumb when you spoke to the chair? Does he respond to you? Or do you do sign language?
He responds in questions that I address to him, obviously, but I would point out that the DG is responsible to the board.
But he sits idly by when the chair is misinforming you. He sits idly by when the chair is misinforming you.
This is the direct line of questions was to the chair.
But no matter, he was in the room. He's the DG. You just said he's responsible to the board.
The issue here is that the chair could not give me accurate information on numerous occasions.
Well, Minister, I put it to you that you have failed to put the right questions to our RT board, through the chair, which is the only person you can talk to, you say. You also have failed to ask the right questions of the chair, or indeed of the DG, who comes just as a mute person to be accompanied. Somebody said making the tea. I don't want to insult the man, but I believe that he must know if he's trying to clean up the mess in there. And it is a mess, an unholy mess. And you might be aware of my comments at the very start of this last July, that I believe that Pat or herself weren't equipped to investigate this. It should have been the fraud squad, or even CAB, because there has been money put aside to deal with possible revenue, a sizable sum of money, into the region of 20 million, to investigate possible irregularities in bogus employment. And nobody else, no other company in the country has that opportunity afforded to them. So why is it afforded to RTE?
Can I just say that you said I don't ask direct questions. I actually couldn't have been more direct than I was last week in asking the chair on numerous occasions in relation to the role of the chair in approving those packages and the role of any role whatsoever of the board. Under the Broadcasting Act, my direct relationship with RTE is with the chair of the board, and there is an obligation under the Code of Practice for Governance of State Bodies, and it refers to areas where indeed there is an obligation on the chairperson to keep the minister informed and advising the minister and making sure that I'm kept advised of all matters.
Thank you. At what point, Minister, did you lose confidence in the former chair of the board, Mr. Rahilly?
Well, I was hoping to have the conversation on the Friday morning with her, but obviously, I felt I could not rely on accurate information, having pressed the issue on Monday and again on numerous occasions on the Wednesday in relation to whether she had a role whatsoever, in being told that it was then pointedly said to me, but we will have in future. We didn't on this occasion, but going forward we will. And then on the Thursday, I actually just couldn't understand on the Thursday the first phone call saying that was wrong. I actually chaired the committee that approved it.
But did they give you the right, was your effective public dismissal of the chair on RT appropriate or indeed, professional from cabinet minister to do so? In that manner? That
was not my intention whatsoever. I wanted to meet her. I wanted to outline what had arisen that day. It was the first opportunity to correct the record. Where I had said publicly on foot of the information supplied to me by the chair, I had corrected the record of reports at the weekend and said there was absolutely no board approval. I had, I felt compelled that when asked to share the information that I had, rather than conceal it.
Minister, on public television,
it was a very
you could have waited,
situation.
you could have cancelled the programme, as others have asked. Instead, you could have easily pulled out. We know now that you had briefed the presenter or the research team that you were prepared to answer this question. So it's the leading question you got to dismiss her publicly or throw her under the bus, as has been said. But now, Minister, going forward, how can you give confidence here, or what confidence can you give us, or indeed the public, who I think they've switched off from watching these anyway, because they're just pure patently disgusted with it, as they're disgusted with much of the content in RT. And I reiterate that I have sympathy for the vast majority of employees in RT, but to cabal at the top, what confidence can you give me and our committee here, to the chair, that you're going to be able to deal with this cabal? You have failed miserably since last July to do it. You just feel to be weak at all junctures, and successive governments have done so as well. So what confidence can you give us that you're able to deal with this cabal? Because that's what it is now, a cabal. And I think Mr. Backus' position is untenable as well. I find it hard to think that you could say he sat there and didn't advise or notice to Mr. Nearali and say, look, you're misinforming the minister there, and you still have confidence in him and haven't in the other. So where's this leading, and what confidence can you give us that you're going to be able to deal with this cabal?
I've confidence in meeting with the board on Friday. I have confidence that we can find a path forward. It's a very future-looking meeting that we intend to have. I have confidence in the reforms that are taking place, and I have confidence that when we receive the expert advisory committee recommendations, that will be implemented. I don't think it's fair to say that as a sweeping statement. I think I do not think that's fair.
I don't believe you have either, to be fair, if you're being honest.
I have absolute
I don't believe you have, to the chair. I don't believe you have. How could you? When the DG sits there through a meeting where you're being misinformed by Mr. Nearali, as you've stated yourself, and he never opens his mouth. Bail Dunta.
I have confidence in the reforms that are underway, in the reforms that need to happen, but more importantly, the absolute value that we all have here on public service broadcasting. And
it's been eroded very fast, Minister, and you haven't helped. And most situations, through the chair, I've been involved in local authorities where members were appointed, officials were appointed on where the local authorities amalgamated or collaborated with groups to achieve a sports complex or whatever, and the county council took a part in it. Small money, small investments, not in the hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands maybe, rather than this multi-millions. And the minister of the county council as a body would always appoint an official in there, or two, a board of 8 or 10. I sat beside them, excellent officials, and they were the watchdogs for the public purse, for the county council, for the public investment. Why haven't you dedicated officials appointed, which you did appoint, to watch for the public purse? Where are they? Where's your duty there? Duty of care to the state and to the taxpayers' money.
That's why I've set up expert advisory committees to look at the staff behaviour issues, to look at the culture and governance. Well, yeah. there are
I'm talking about the
regular
board.
Meetings.
I'm talking about the board when you set it up first. After the fact now, when there's millions and millions and millions paid out in payments to people going out and won't come back and answer questions. I mean, lack of your ability here has to be seriously questioned. And your departments who advise you. Why hadn't you specific members on that board that were watching you to tell you the truth? They're passing your notes now, I see, furiously, but why wasn't somebody passing your notes beforehand or informing you? How has this let this fester and soar to be this appalling vista? What a mess. And we'll continue here with meetings and more meetings and more meetings, round and round the house and mind the dresser. and don't answer any questions. So the sooner that the fraud squad are brought in, the better. Why is RT being protected by the public, by you as minister and the government to face up to their tax liabilities? To be honest with their employees who want to earn money for their families. How is that allowed to continue, and how is this charade carrying on?
That's why I'm saying to you, Deputy, that these reports are key. As I've pointed out to the committee on the last occasion, and a number of members brought up the issue of staff and equality and fairness. That's why a separate committee is dealing with the staff and HR issues, and the other one is on governance and culture. Obviously, I've now stated many times, what was there was dysfunctional.
And it still is very dysfunctional.
Just to conclude.
But I would say as well, it's not appropriate to put department officials on a board like that, but there are
So that's the note you got now. So how come we can put county council officials on boards to protect the taxpayers on small scale? It seems that this is, I said the last day, like the mind the chickens in the hen house and keep the door closed, don't let in the fox. You don't want to see any fox. You want to carry on your merry-go-round with the media, public service broadcasting, that are beholding to the government and certain committee members here as well. We hear them morning, noon and night on interviews, but anyone who had alternative view was forgotten about. So it's not fair or right, and you're not able to control it. And you have no intention of trying to control it because it suits the government narrative to let this cabal carry on.
Okay, Deputy McGrath, give the Minister an opportunity to respond and we'll move on.
Absolutely determined. I think part of the problem here has been consecutive governments not grasping the nettle of putting RTE on a sustainable footing. But more important, it's not just about RTE, and as many members here have raised, it's about the wider broadcasting and print sector. And that's why we have to move quickly and make this decision. But key to that is, if you're saying looking for the fox, is the expert advisory committees
Keep
reports.
Setting up committees, yeah.
No, but we're going to have that report.
Jobs to the bodies. And the same big corporate companies that give advice that's tainted and they're hired again. So the people can see through this. A blind person could see through what's going on. Cabal.
Deputy, we have to get the recommendations of these two expert groups.
You're the minister.
See them implemented.
You make decisions and let them deal with the fallout.
Deputy.
I rest my case, Chair. Because we're getting over here.
We'll move on. Deputy.